Haaland has not really, his deficiencies are really showing this season. He just scores goals. He doesn't really help his team. So, having said that, I believe Real Madrid will go through. But of course, it's football. Anything can happen. Transit TV, welcome back again to the studios. Of course, these big heavyweights are here today. We have gotten to the interesting part of the season, a time of the season where fans and the coaches, players, what they play for every season, they want to be involved in important part of the season, which is this quarterfinal of the Champions League. We just watched Arsenal play at Emirates, 2-2 draw against Bayern Munich. Of course, City as well traveled to Spain and came back with a 3-3 draw. This is the highest level of club football, if not global football as a whole. At this level, pedigree counts a lot. At this level, personality is what is required to win games. You might have a good team, but if you don't have players who have personality, who have huge and big personalities, it's always difficult to come out with a win at this level. But again, we saw plenty of goals today, and I will put this to the work that UEFA has done by removing the away and home goal advantage from this tournament, which has made it that regardless of whether you play away or home, the goals do not matter. What matters is who wins. So which has made it possible for teams to now come out and play football, because usually at this level, you will see teams travel away and try to park the bus, as many say, and come back at home to play. But now you have to just win the games, regardless of home or away. Yeah, to look at these two great games today are the heavyweights of Transit TV. Omezi is in the house. Beniza Ebi is here. Nimi, of course, has to be here today as a Chelsea fan. And Ugum took some time from his busy schedule on his scouting program in Nigeria to jump in on this one. Guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reggie. I can't wait for next 2 weeks so good to wear that Chelsea jersey. Remember the bet we had?
I still don't think that's going to happen.
Yes.
What was the bet?
You don't know Nimi.
I can't wait.
You don't know Nimi. Nimi will always try to find a way. He's trying to be happy ahead of time because he knows that it's not going to happen. He just want to enjoy the moment.
Honestly, if we were to dive into it, I
But let's knock off City, Real Madrid. Then we'll go into Arsenal. I've been thinking this now. I don't know. It's no longer. I don't know if I'll keep saying it. City can't just keep clean sheets. Great team. They play good football, but they keep conceding. 3 goals at the Bernabeu. Of course, again. Real Madrid as well, conceding 3. Do you guys see this one more as a spectacle, as like a show of quality, or do we say these two teams were shambolic defensively?
Quality.
I agree. I think it's two titans just battling it out. It is a very different look from the Man City versus Arsenal game, right? Everybody was just trying to make sure they didn't lose. But this was a guns a-blazing, all drawn-out battle, and very different from Bayern and Arsenal. I think this is just a game at the highest quality, and it's good to see that there's going to be a big challenge ahead at the next leg for both teams.
Do you think Bayern should have, Real Madrid should have approached this game differently, considering the fact that Man City is a team presently that has a big reputation of conceding goals?
I think that Real Madrid are one of the top 2 clubs in the world, and they have to play that way, right? If they have a highly experienced coaching in Carlo Ancelotti, and he's always going to set his team up in a way that he feels is best to win the game. And he's never been a coward in the way he approaches the game. So I'm not surprised that he came out to play. His squad is full of quality players. And so whoever you're meeting playing more conservatively or a lot more conservatively against Manchester City is telling City that they are a better side. And there's a way that you approach a game and you don't give yourself away as being cowardly or as admitting that the other team is better. You've got to play, with a bit of pragmatism. You can defend when you need to defend, but then you have the tools. When you have the likes of Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., and Jude Bellingham, you have this kind of players in your team. You have to use them. You have to get them, unleash them, let them also give the other team something to think about. And I think that's what Real Madrid do.
Yeah, but I know you can say that, Nimi. I don't know if you're with me on this one. If you remember, I think it was quarterfinal or the first knockout stage against RB Leipzig. I criticized Ancelotti, the way Real Madrid approached that game. They were conservative in that game. They kind of almost played on the counter against Leipzig. So, contrary to what the woman is saying, why didn't he adopt the same, knowing that City have more better quality than Leipzig? And at the end of the day, what's going to count is who progresses to the semi-finals, not who played like not who was brave in approach. So, for me, I thought that.
I have the answer to that question.
Okay.
The answer to that question was injuries. Yeah, Real Madrid had key players from their goalkeeper to their defender and I think Jude Bellingham had issues as well. They had some key injuries in that side that made Ancelotti decide to be a lot more conservative and just play on the counter against Leipzig. But again, Leipzig is not Manchester City. Now, there are opponents you face. You cannot afford to hand them that, confidence boost. And so, you can do that against a smaller side, but when you're facing a perennial rival, these guys have played against each other for the past 3 seasons at the Champions League level in key stages, right? You have to use your body language to tell the opponent, hey, I'm a big boy as much as you're a big boy. I'm not just going to, bow to you.
Okay, Uguma, do you agree with Uguma? Considering the fact that Madrid actually scored goals and probably they had defended better, probably they would have won the game.
I disagree with Ugum. First of all, I do think going back to how this match was going to go, I remember the podcast we did about 3 weeks ago to when these fixtures were laid out. I said Man City will have an edge, especially if the first match is going to be at the Bernabeu. It was going to be like this. My only thing is Madrid came out with, if you've ever heard, all die and I died. They came up with that approach, and I was a little bit disappointed when they went 2-1 up. I expected them to sit back and catch Man City on the break with Rodrigo and Vinicius, with Cruz giving those killer passes, soaking the pressure, catch them with break. Walker wasn't there and all of that. But they didn't do that. They were trying to play expansive football and, come out. I know, and I was kind of surprised. But it was a tactical game. Manchester City considered 3 goals. It's just, typical of Manchester City this season. And, Madrid going to the second leg, I think this is, Manchester City wanted this. They wanted to get out of the Bernabeu with at least a draw or a slim victory. And they didn't want to lose that game. And I'm 100% confident that when they head to the Etihad Stadium, Madrid will want to sit back, soak in that pressure and counter, and it's not going to work at the Etihad Stadium. And I think Ancelotti overthought himself. He shot himself in the foot. I expected him to use the Leipzig blueprint, Manchester City today, which he didn't do. And they're going to find it difficult. As I said, Manchester City has the advantage to qualify from this group.
Yeah, Omenze, you were about to say something there. Do you think that with the personalities that Real Madrid have, that they should probably, especially people like like Nimi mentioned there, who have pace, who are very fast and on the break, and Rodrigo, do you think that, and considering the fact that you have been considering goals, you always know that you fancy your chances against City. So all you needed to do was to stop their quality up front from scoring, and you know that you're always going to score against them.
So my take is I think it's a little bit of a hybrid between what Ogum said and my guy said about Nimi said about Real Madrid. I think, honestly, that it's still a 50-50 game. It's no one like I don't think City. I really don't think City is has an advantage here. Why? Because City is conceding goals. If they're conceding 3 goals in a game, that's a problem. Now, Ancelotti, being smart, can adopt the same kind of tactics that Arteta had done when he went to play when Arsenal played City away.
Yeah.
Right, where you stifle them, and try to hit them on the counter. The game against City versus Arsenal, you could see those weaknesses there. Had Jesus been a little bit more clinical, it might have been a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
So if we're going to use that again, I know that's a different game, but if in theory, City has weaknesses behind them, letting in 3 goals is bad enough.
It's a worry.
It's a worry for them. So I feel like this game is still very up in the air because Madrid have everything it takes to go to the Etihad and just shut it down and just invite them to count and invite them in and then hit them on the break. But then again, we're still talking about City. City has quality all over. Madrid, on the other hand, do not have a solid defense. If they're conceding 3 goals at home, they don't really have a solid defense. So they need to probably step it up next week, hold the fort down, and perhaps hope that, they can hit City on the counter. Yeah, because that's the only way it's going to work. They don't have the ball-playing midfielders to hold City at bay. That's suicide in my opinion. So the only way I see out for them is to hit them on the counter, which I know Ancelotti is very versed in doing. He knows how to organize his teams and say, okay, you know what? Sit here. It's about winning this game or something. These are 2 heavyweights. It's Madrid. Madrid is the most successful team in the Champions League. And then you have the hottest team in the world right now in Manchester City. So it's the perfect matchup for me.
All over the fixture, I think it's like that. And please, let me touch base with you right quick. We've seen City evolve from Toure under Pellegrini, then Pep Guardiola comes in, Silva takes over and hands over to Kevin De Bruyne as a key man. Now, in the last 2 seasons, it looks like KDB, injuries, age, speed, and everything. Yeah, on the ball, on a good day when he's fit, he impacts on games for City, like last weekend, the goal he scored to bring them back into the game. We see Foden stepping up since this season, scoring, I think he has scored like, I don't know if he was starting 20-something goals now this season. I scored a worthy again this night. Now, talk to me about Foden. Do you think he's ripe for Pep Guardiola to build the team around him going forward?
I believe so. I mean, the difference between Foden, in my opinion, is that he's much more versatile. I mean, this man can play on either wing. He can play that attacking midfield position that De Bruyne takes up. He's just, Pep Guardiola said it himself, he's one of the most talented players that he's ever gotten the chance to work with. And I think Foden can be the key at the end. This man has done it time and time again. The pressure does not get to him. It just doesn't, simply. And he loves coming clutch in those big games. So I think going forward, Pep Guardiola has full intention to build the squad around Foden. We're not thinking it's Haaland anymore. I mean, Haaland is a great player. He's that poacher. He does his job sometimes.
Okay. Let me stay right there. Let me poke you on that. We're discussing about City and conceding goals, right? But Guardiola sometime this season made a comment about Foden. The reason why, I think one of the reasons why he wasn't really picking him earlier before now, but now he just has to, that he said Foden is talented. He has all the qualities to be a world-class footballer. But the problem he has with him is he plays with his instinct. He doesn't respect the coach's instruction.
Tactics.
He doesn't respect structure. So it's possible, this is one of the reasons why City is having problems defensively. If you watch, when KDB was the key man in Man City, he does his defensive duties. He knows where to be on the pitch. But Foden just explodes. And sometimes, as good as you may be going forward, it can disrupt the shape of your team and make you vulnerable on transition. Do you think that could be an issue? How do
it
you,
could be.
if you're a Pep, how do you fix that if you're a Pep? The guy is doing his job going forward, but again, his positioning around the pitch is also causing problem for the team. Let's reference Arsenal in this. Before now, that I used to talk about it, positioning on the pitch. Arsenal is more difficult to concede counters now because of the way the players are more drilled in, even in possession, they think defensive. So if you are in Pep's position, which one are you going to try to exploit what he gives you going forward, or try to tame him a little bit to understand that the defensive side of things is very important as well?
That's a tough question because I 100% see the defensive problems. I mean, lying within City when Foden doesn't track back, when he doesn't kind of put in that shift. It's kind of like that risk we had with Zinchenko, right? It's okay. We know how good he is playing in that deep line midfield role, but should we take that risk, right? So I think Pep Guardiola, he likes to play it safe. You know, he's not really a risk taker per se. You know, that's why he had trouble with City in the Champions League. But now they finally overcame that hump per se. So it's a tough one to call because Guardiola could say, you know what, I believe in you, Foden. I think at the Etihad, this is your prime time. This is your place. I mean, that boy loves to shine there. It's proven at this point. But at the same time, he could also play it safe and not play Foden initially. Maybe kind of have him come off the bench and take Madrid by. Exactly. So I think it's 50-50 as to whether Foden starts the next game per se. And, you know, Real Madrid are going to look to exploit that weakness. I mean, think about the 2022 Champions League final. Liverpool were all over them. And Ancelotti was like, we'll accept it. We'll take the pressure. We'll sit back. All it took was one goal. And, I mean, Real Madrid, they're the Champions League gods, you know? If you beat them, then you have a big chance of winning the whole thing. That's what happened with City last year. But it's going to be a great game, for sure. Sure. I'm just so excited for both games.
Yeah, exactly. Foden, he has done so well for City. This is, and if you have listened to Thierry Henry most time talk about Pep is a coach, like you said, Beniza. He likes to do it his way. He doesn't care how talented you are. The only player I think he has given license all his career is Messi. Messi has capacity to decide two games in a game, you know. So, but for any other player, there's a way he wants you to play, position yourself and stuff like that. And that's why you see him sometimes fighting with KDB outside the pitch. You know, there's a way he wants you to play. I remember Thierry Henry saying that there was one occasion that he was playing from the left side and he wasn't getting the ball. And Pep would tell you to stay there. So Henry said he got impatient and went across the other side, got on the ball and scored the goal. They went in for first half. He was feeling like a hunk that he had delivered the team, and Pep was shouting all over him that no, you don't.
I remember that
exactly. So Foden might have to adapt his game to accommodate how Pep wants him to play, or maybe he might look for another option next time. So let me ask you guys on the spot before we move on, who goes through in that fixture? You want to go first?
Yes, I'll go first. Okay, yeah.
That's funny.
Real Madrid will go forward. It's just something tells me that they will be able to beat City at Etihad. It will be a surprise, but I think they'll be able to beat City at Etihad.
Eddie, what's your call?
I think it's going to be tough for City to defend their crown. I truly think that, and I think Real Madrid are gonna go forward. I think it's either gonna be a tight knit game, and a goal decides it, either 1-0 or it might be a bloodbath like this today and go to penalties. Either way, if as an Arsenal, right? If we were to go through, who would I want to face? I think my answer, honestly, is Real Madrid.
Messi.
I think City will go through.
Okay.
I think City will go through. I think City has so much quality going forward that just by today's showing, Real Madrid conceding 3 goals. I honestly think Real Madrid won't be able to withstand what City has going forward. Now that might also depend on who's coming back from injury.
Yeah.
If they have Walker back or even John Stones, if they have one of those 2 back, it's going to be a huge bonus for them. I wouldn't count Madrid out too much, but if I were to put it on the percentage scale, I would say City. Honestly, say City. Who do I want to face? Manchester City, if anything.
Okay, well, Nimi, you already made your call and says City.
Yeah, I made my call, but I love soccer is very good. Now look at Ugu struggling to catch his breath. 3 weeks ago, he was so confident, and now he's struggling to say who's going to go through. Well, I said the match was going to go like this. It's not going to be a 1-0 score line in Manchester City in 2 weeks. It's going to be a bloodbath. There's going to be so many goals in that game, and City is going to win. Book the calendar, mark it. City is going to qualify to the next round, and as I predicted, they'll be facing Bayern Munich in that round.
From the time the draws were made, I called it for Real Madrid. I believe Real Madrid is going to go through in this one, and right now they are also favored because if you look in the league, they have a 12-point cushion in their league. They can afford to lose the next 2 games. Rest their players are ready for this tournament, for this encounter. While on the other side, City is fighting on 2 fronts domestically, so they don't have the luxury of resting players, and there still could be possibility of more injuries, like Omezi mentioned. So I believe Real Madrid will go through. And contrary to what we mentioned earlier on, what's his name? Ancelotti is going to be pragmatic in that game. As long as they didn't lose today, he's going to adopt the other. He's going to go to his plan B, which will be to soak the pressure and try to hit City on the counter. City are conceding goals. I don't know if the goalkeeper in transition they are just too open these days. And if you fancy your chances, if you have players like Vinicius Junior on the counter and Rodrigo and calmness of Jude Bellingham and the stubbornness of Jude Bellingham as well, I don't think you should worry too much about going forward and getting your goals. So you just need to do it just and Eddie Haaland has not really, his deficiencies are really showing this season. He just scores goals. He doesn't really help his team. So having said that, I believe Real Madrid will go through. But of course, it's football. Anything can happen. Okay, guys. Yeah, I think that's that for that. We'll see what happens next week. And we continue. Some people have predicted a bloodbath. And between me and Messi, we feel that it's going to be a tactical battle between these 2 heavyweights. And we'll see how that's going to pan out.